Let's have a quick opening and then I'll be ready for your questions. Today we're going to be asking questions around the serious allegations of foreign interference. We demanded a public inquiry and put that forward in committee, and it was voted on. It's clear that that's what parliamentarians want. It's what Canadians want. And really, we want two criteria to be satisfied. We want to see a process that's independent and that's public or transparent. Those are really the two important things that we believe will restore confidence in our electoral system, and we'll be asking questions about that today. Donc, on va poser des questions aujourd'hui parce que les allégations d'ingérence étrangère sont vraiment sérieuses et ça demande une réponse qui est transparente et qui est indépendante. Ça, c'est pourquoi on a proposé une enquête publique dans le comité, mais ces deux éléments sont importants, transparence et indépendance. Donc, on va continuer de mettre la pression sur le gouvernement parce que les Canadiens ont des questions et on doit avoir des réponses.
Si je laisse le rapporteur, d'abord, allez-vous participer au choix là, de la consultation du rapporteur spécial, mais si ce rapporteur spécial conclut qu'on n'a pas besoin d'enquête publique, qu'est-ce que vous allez faire?
Ça, c'est une potentielle. Ça, c'est pourquoi on dit que la déclaration ou les étapes suggérées par le Premier ministre sont des petits pas et on va voir les résultats. Parce que pour nous, il y a une question du fait que cette ingérence, ces allégations d'ingérence ont miné la confiance dans la démocratie et c'est important de faire quelque chose pour encore donner la confiance dans notre système de démocratie. Donc,
is your party going to take part in the review at the National Security Committee on election irregularities, and will you offer the government any input on a special rapporteur?
So with respect to the committee, our member of parliament that's present on the committee, Don Davies, will participate, of course, but we want to be clear, we don't think that's sufficient, just that committee work. That committee, while it can do important work, is a committee that is very confidential given the nature of the information. And we had said from the beginning, the two criteria we have for restoring confidence in our electoral process and responding to Canadians' questions has to, one, be independent, but two, has to also be public, and that's not going to be satisfied by that committee. And with respect to the special rapporteur, we are open to providing suggestions. It will be the government that will decide who that is. We expect it to be someone that has credibility and someone that is respected across the country.
Will you make recommendations? Will you put names forward for recommendations of who the independent watchdog should be?
We're considering names that we would suggest for the special rapporteur. But again, this needs to be someone that has the confidence of Canadians, someone that is respected, and someone that is credible.
Vous êtes d'accord avec ça, que ce soit le gouvernement qui choisisse la personne qui sera nommée rapporteur spécial?
En général, souvent avec les commissions, si le gouvernement le nomme, le bilan ou l'expérience et les gens nommés sont des gens qui font un travail important, prennent au sérieux la position, donc on a confiance dans cette question de nommer la personne, mais pour nous, la question qui manque ou la question qui reste, c'est vraiment la question de ces deux éléments, indépendance et transparence. Et à ce moment, ce n'est pas clair si on va avoir un processus qui est aussi public. Ça, c'est une question.
Ma question, M. Singh, j'ai pas bien compris votre réponse. J'ai pas bien compris votre réponse tout à l'heure. Donc, si ce rapporteur spécial dit non, pas d'enquête publique, vous faites quoi?
C'est une question hypothétique. On ne sait pas c'est quoi la raison pour laquelle il va donner une réponse comme ça. J'ai dit ma position, et ma position est claire. J'ai besoin, je pense que les Canadiens ont besoin d'un processus qui a ces deux éléments. Et sans avoir ces deux éléments, je pense que ça va être difficile à répondre à cette question du fait de ces allégations ont miné la confiance dans notre démocratie. Donc, sans avoir une réponse qui donne de la transparence et puis l'indépendance, je pense que ça va être difficile à répondre à cette question.
Does the rapporteur or the inquiry head need to have political experience in running campaigns, nomination or electoral campaigns, and has the party, your party, ordered a review of your own nomination and electoral campaign processes to prevent foreign interference?
Okay, I'll take the question in two parts.
I throw in two because
Sure, that's fine. That's fine. First part, I don't think it's necessary to have a political experience, someone that's got credibility, someone that knows how to ask the right questions, someone that will consult the experts, I think can do the work necessary. So I don't think that political experience is a criteria that's necessary, but we want someone that will do a thorough job, will ask the hard questions, will have access to all the information, and will present something very clear and transparent to the public. So I think that's what's needed. On the second question, we routinely review our process, but we have received no evidence of any concerns in our nomination process. And so that has not been a question that's been raised.
Is the special rapporteur, you talked about these two criteria, independent and public, do you think the special rapporteur can meet those criteria, or does it have to be a public inquiry?
I think the rapporteur could. It is potential. Well, they're certainly going to meet the independence, the fact that it's no longer going to be partisan. So the first element of independence will be there. The second question about the transparency or the public element is one that could be met, could not be met. That's one that we're not certain of, and that's why we're saying that the government's announcement are baby steps, but are not going to respond right now to the gravity of the situation yet. It remains to be seen if it will.
And if the rapporteur says,
with regard to whether or not you'll accept the findings of the special rapporteur, you say it's a hypothetical question. So can you hypothesize for us if they come out, they meet your criteria for independence and be nonpartisan, and they say there shouldn't be a public inquiry, you're going to go for that?
I'm not going to hypothesize on that.
What would it take then for you to accept it?
Well, we're going to wait and see.
Yeah.
We're not going to prejudge anything right now.
So you're cool if there's no public inquiry after your party just voted at committee to say that there needs to be a public inquiry?
No. We've said that there's two things that need to be met, and I've said that again and again, and I've opened up the door to how this is met, but we need to see a process that's independent and public. And right now, my concerns are that with the appointment of a special rapporteur, it will qualify as independent, but I still remain concerned about the public element of it. And that's why I believe the public inquiry is the best path. But I will be open to hearing if those two criteria are met. But right now, I don't think they're met, and that's why I'm raising my concerns.
what happens if they're not met? When you get to the end of this process, you don't like the fact that they are not doing a public inquiry, the special rapporteur, would you withdraw your support?
That's not a decision we're making today, and we'll assess the information that comes before us, and we'll let you know once we see the next steps in terms of if they're satisfactory or not. But right now, we're saying very clearly that the independence seems to be met with this idea of a special rapporteur, but we're still concerned about the public element of it. Canadians need to know that everything's being done to protect our democracy, and right now we're concerned about that.
Your committee motion that you worked on with the Conservatives called for opposition parties to be consulted on whoever leads a public inquiry. Should they not also then be consulted on whoever leads a special rapporteur?
Yes, I think it's a good idea to do so. In the past, that's not been the case, but I think it is a good idea.
We had Mr. Poilievre out here before, and he was talking about CSIS agents leaking information because they see the Prime Minister working against the interests of Canada. What do you think about that? Do you think that's what's going on?
I think that's a very... I don't know how the leader of the Conservative can make that allegation. I don't know what evidence he's basing that on. The reason for the leaks, we don't know what the reason were, what the motivation was. All we know now is that we've got serious allegations in front of us that should be taken seriously. That's why we're calling for a public inquiry. And just to correct the record, we're the ones that called for the public inquiry. New Democrats called for it. Conservatives are more interested in playing games with this. They're using the committee process as a opportunity or forum to score political points. We think the question of defending our democracy is not an area to score political points. It's about protecting democracy, and that's why we're remaining very measured that we want a public inquiry, because we want to get to the real nature of the problems and then ultimately get to solutions to safeguard and protect our democracy. That's our goal, very different from the Conservatives, who are really just out here trying to attack for the sake of attacking. They don't have the goal of protecting our democracy. They have the goal of scoring points, and it's very clear if you watch the committee, that is their goal. Their goal is not trying to find solutions to protect and safeguard our democracy.
How would Restore public confidence.
Et une nouvelle question ici.
Que le rapporteur spécial demande une enquête publique. Est-ce qu'il ne serait pas pertinent que ce soit quelqu'un qui est nommé par le Parlement, par une majorité des élus ou même par l'unanimité?
Ça soulève une question des processus en général. Et j'ai dit dans le passé que le processus au niveau fédéral, c'est un processus, je pense, problématique. Comment on nomme des commissaires, comment on nomme des gens qui gèrent une enquête. Dans les autres parlements, quand j'étais député provincial, on a eu un processus où tous les partis reconnus étaient dans un comité qui décide et qui nomme une commissaire avec l'unanimité du comité. Je pense que ça, c'est une meilleure façon de gérer les dossiers comme ça. Donc oui, en général, le processus au niveau fédéral, où c'est seulement le gouvernement qui nomme, pas seulement les gens qui gèrent une enquête, mais aussi les commissaires, c'est un processus que je trouve problématique. Et je pense qu'une meilleure façon, c'est un comité comme lequel que j'ai fait quand j'étais dans le comité qui a nommé la vérificatrice générale de l'Ontario. Je pense que c'est une meilleure façon où tous les partis reconnus sont dans un comité où le président, c'est le président de chambre, et ça, c'est une meilleure façon.
Do you support the idea of a foreign influence registry, a foreign agent registry? The Prime Minister suggested that, you know, there are problems around different ethnic communities being overly identified with those kinds of things. So do you support that idea, or you oppose it?
The idea of a registry is an idea that might have some benefit, but it's not the solution on its own. What's clear here is that we need a more wholesome or a more thorough analysis of a more fulsome, I should say, more thorough analysis of what went wrong, what happened, and how we can fix it. And part of the benefit of a public inquiry would be those recommendations. What can we actually do that will concretely protect our democracy? And while there is some merit to the idea of a registry and identifying who are foreign agents, I'm not at all convinced that that would be enough to protect our democracy. Thanks so much. Merci. Merci.